Welcome to Intentional Excellence. Elevate your life. I'm your host, Candice Ruggiero. I'm a keynote speaker. I'm a podcast host, aspiring author, entrepreneur, and educator. This podcast is all about inspiring educators, leaders, and dreamers to find their purpose, their passion, and excellence in every aspect of their lives. Tonight, we're continuing our January series entitled Purpose Driven Men Making a Difference. And this series highlights incredible individuals who have transformed challenges into opportunities and are making a positive impact in the world. Our guest this evening is someone whose story truly exemplifies resilience, faith, and intentional excellence. We have Dr. Joseph Chan, who is an accomplished internal medicine doctor. He had a doctor whose life and career have been shaped by remarkable personal experiences. Mr. Chan, or Joseph, or Pep, grew up in a hybrid life between the Philippines and the USA. He embraced opportunities that really enriched his medical journey and his personal growth. After being diagnosed with a kidney disease, his path led him to specialize in nephrology with a deep understanding of the challenges faced by kidney patients. His life is centered on his faith, his beliefs, and his marriage, which provide him with strength and purpose. A kidney transplant from his sister became a transformative moment, teaching him the power of reliance on others and inspiring him to prioritize wellness both for himself and his patients. Dr. Chan's story is one of resilience, faith, and the pursuit of holistic well being. My viewers and my guests, I just want to help me in welcoming Dr. Chan. Hi, Joseph. Hi, Pep. Welcome to Intentional Excellence.
Hey, hi Candice. Hey, hi everyone listening in.
First of all, I just want
Good
to
to
say
see you.
thank you. You have a busy job, a busy role, but it's a Saturday morning and
Yeah,
you're here on my podcast. Please know that I appreciate that a lot.
no, this is good. This is good. Thank you for inviting me. I'm totally, you know, honored and kind of shocked that you asked me to come in, but don't get really a lot of opportunities to share about, the deeper things and what's going on in my life, and that was really a good opportunity, especially like coming in this new year, kind of just help me recap everything that's gone in my life, and I don't think I might get another opportunity like this, so yeah, I'm probably just gonna
Well, this
share it
might be
all
the
out.
start of
Yeah.
something new for you. Like maybe in your journey, you might want to do your own just like just continuing that passion to spread making a difference
Yeah.
in the world. You know what I mean? You never know. You never
Yeah,
know,
the
right? So,
podcast is really good, and I listened to a few and got to listen to a few of your shows.
thank you.
Excellent job, by the way, and
Oh, thank you.
yeah, like I mentioned to you, I really had fun with listening to Andy the Undertaker's podcast. I'm a wrestling fan, so and
Oh, okay.
he looks
Oh,
like
I
him.
didn't even know that Undertaker meant a wrestler. I didn't know
Yeah,
that was
that's
a wrestler.
yeah. I don't know if because you probably didn't watch a lot of wrestling, but he does look like the
Oh,
Undertaker,
he
and I'm sure
does.
in the person. So, hi Andy. Hey, your story was really
Oh,
inspiring. Yeah, with the kids. And I like the stories that
yes.
that he should be in a teacher. So
I love
that's
that.
great.
Thank you. And like I said, this January, the men are just simply, um, I'm in awe of most of my guests, and I still have
Hmm.
a good lineup. It's because most of the time women are more vocal about their expression, their feelings,
Yeah.
but you never realize how powerful men can be when it comes to their story. And just to give everybody a background, Pep or Joseph is really a family friend, and he has always opened his house, a beautiful home in Florida where he is close to the beach, and the most generous, most thoughtful, and most kind family that I've ever met. And I hope that I give you honor by inviting
Oh
you in
yeah.
this podcast.
Thanks again.
All all right, so let's begin. This is gonna be long because I know Pep has such a wonderful story to share with you all. All right,
Or
so
how,
let's
yeah,
start. Yeah.
however short or long it takes. I'm not, yeah,
Thank
not
you.
sure, but
So Pep and I are both originally from the Philippines. And Pep, you grew up with a hybrid upbringing between the
yeah,
Philippines and the US, right? And honestly, I can relate to living between two cultures as I've spent time also in the Philippines and Australia and now in America. And it's an experience that really broadens your perspective in
yeah.
profound ways. Pep, can you like share a bit about your upbringing and how those experiences shaped your journey toward becoming an internal medicine doctor?
Yeah. By the way, and and I know, and just call me Pep because I know that's how you used to call me.
Yes.
So that's my nickname. In Philippines, Joseph, they take the last syllable, the F part, and that's how they come up with Pep, with
Oh, I
Joseph.
didn't
But
realize
when I
that.
asked my
Okay.
mom, I was like, how did I get my name? And he said, my yaya,
The nanny.
the nanny that took care of me, said, I was like always running around, well, any little boy would, and then they called me Pep because I was like full of
Oh,
energy. So
okay. Well,
yeah,
it's
it
very,
seems to suit me, like with
yes.
yeah. But anyway, this is just that. But a lot of power in names. I mean, like and Joseph. Well, my mom took the for it because I was right after the Saint Joseph feast. But anyway,
Oh,
but I
okay.
like that. Actually, your name sticks with you,
Of
and the name
course.
that um, I met a lot of Joseph, and they're good guys, and so I feel like the name fits. So,
Hmm.
but growing up in a hybrid culture is really a gift because not a lot of people get to do that, and probably like a lot of like army brats, or they call them army brats, the one that travel from different with their arm. I see them, and their knowledge is it's kind of more broadened.
Hmm.
So I was really blessed because I grew up in the 80s in the Philippines, and got to my mom was here in Maryland, so our family finally took a trip there to Maryland, and the plan was to go back to Philippines because my
Hmm.
mom and my dad, they're together, but their careers were more successful in their respective countries. So my mom was a nurse, and spent the summer in Maryland. And she asked me if I wanted to stay because she didn't have anybody. And I was like, yeah, she got me a bike. I wanted, Toys R Us there. And then, that vision, I was like,
This is awesome.
I'm gonna stay here. And as a young kid, it was so much easier to make friends then, right? So
Right.
we didn't have laptops, so we lived in an apartment, so people just
Knew each
we're
other
outside,
easily.
and so it
Yeah.
was easy. So the transition for me was not difficult. I mean, I'm blessed to have a great childhood, and that was, I'm sure, allowed me to develop to who I am today.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so grew up in the '90s, and we could like fast track um, towards high school. High school was difficult for my mom and I, like our relationship, me growing up, and I wanted to like get, I wanted to drive a car. I wanted to,
Was she
uh,
strict? Was she strict?
no, she wasn't strict. I was just not a good adolescent boy, and and I wanted more freedom. Like,
Okay.
I felt like when I would take a vacation in the Philippines, and my cousins were hanging out with older people in the clubs, driving, hanging, and it was just, I thought like, wow, it's so much fun, and I felt like I wanted to go back, and then and I did, and I think because of that turmoil that my mom and I had, I think she thought, you what, I need a break from you. Go live with your dad. And and I went to high school there and lived with my dad. I think I may
Yeah.
not have had the opportunities I would have had here in America if that shift didn't happen.
Okay.
I'm okay at school. Like I was really good at school when I'm focused, but during those adolescent years, really a lot of distractions just took more priorities. Just being a young guy, and so that took more priorities, I thought. But but I was able to thrive there in high school and college, and so that was a major shift. I think the opportunities that allowed the Philippines allowed me to be who I can
Okay.
be, and also knowing the difference and appreciating the difference of what America was and in Philippines, and that was good.
Um, Pep, I I don't know if this is the best time. I know Pep has this story, and I don't. And the way that he described how his mom was overprotective of him, I had to ask him, was it because of overprotectiveness? And he did share something of the reason of why his mom was overprotective. But I know, since I know Pep's family, there's this incident I believe that happened in the Philippines, that if you are okay to sharing with the audience, because that's a once in a, hopefully nobody has to go through that
Yeah,
experience, and I feel that it also made you who you are right now. Is that okay for you to share it with the
sure.
public?
If yeah, so it's you know, I got kidnapped, and it's a story I've told a lot of times, and I think
uh,
one story, yeah, it was a time when I was just coming home with friends,
okay.
and I was alone in my car, and on broad daylight, it was a stoplight on a strip mall. So there was a lot of people, car in front of me, car on my left, right. I had my windows down, blasting my music. I was 20,
Wow.
and then there was cops right next to me, and then wait, like I said hi to them, and there was a cop car. So it was and then this is 2000s,
Okay.
right? And then all of a sudden the cops were looking at each other. I see them talking, and I just, it was stoplight, just hanging out, and then they got down from their car, and they got me out of the
Wow.
of my vehicle, and I was like, what do
They
I do?
grab you, like how many
They
men?
opened, no, they were
How many?
forcing the door, so there was four of them, and they were wearing like a police uniform. And then they told me, I had drugs in the car, and I was like, now I know something's wrong because I don't have drugs in my car, and and then they said the car was stolen. They were just telling this to me. It's like that's why we're grabbing. It's like you're making
Okay.
up a bunch of stuff. So this is not, this is wrong, right?
Okay.
I know I'm in trouble. So they got me out of the car, and they had some automatic weapons, or in the Philippines it's quite common for security or even cops to
Right.
have weapons. So they had that, and I remember like trying to struggle out. I was struggling out, and I even saw another security officer coming in from the other side of the
Were
street
they
trying to.
part of the gang? Were they
No,
part?
no. I tried to get help. I was like, "Hey, help me!" This, I don't. There, and then the guy who had the gun to me, I was like, "Hey, no, don't worry about it. We got this. Just do your job." And then so he kind of was like, "All right, I'll leave you guys alone." And so I was like, "Oh no, I'm all alone." And I see people, like I
Mhm.
remember people's faces in the windshield, like help, like I'm asking for help, and they were just like kind of gawking, like, "Well, they have guns, and they're the they're the cops, so they didn't really do much." So they put me in the back of the car. I got two guys right next to me, right and left, and one of the guys drove the vehicle, and the other one on the driver's passenger side. And we were driving around this strip, and so like I'm fighting and wrestling, trying to get out, and
Wow.
all the adrenaline, and for some reason, the guy driving made a wrong turn to a parking lot, like a
Okay.
parking lot. So he was circling around parking lot, and because we were in the main road. So I think, and then I thought this might be an opportunity for me to get out because the drive is slow. So we were there still wrestling, and then I was like, "All right, fine, I'll go with you guys. Just let go of me." And then they let go of me, and I said, and I just catch my breath for a little bit, and I see my window open on the right side. And then once I got my energy back, well, the reason why I stopped fighting too was the guy on the shotgun. I remember the driver telling him, do anything to just keep him calm, because I was like, I was full of
Panicking. You were
adrenaline.
like for
Even
sure.
though there were four like men, and they
You were
were they
fighting
were
them.
bigger than me. I'm small. I'm a small guy, and then they he said do something, and the guy bit my thumb, because the guy bit my thumb, and that just took all the energy. I mean,
Okay.
I was being punched. I had like the gun like in the back of my head. They were hitting me. That didn't really hurt because my adrenaline. But
Right.
when he bit my thumb, for some reason that drained me, and I thought that was a good thing when I got to rest. I saw the my window down, and when they kind of let go because they were tired too, that's when I jumped out the window, and my body was like halfway out, and I opened out the
Wow.
door from the side from the outside, and just kind of kicked myself out. So because we were circling there, so I got
In a
out.
moving car, in a moving
Yeah,
vehicle.
and because I when they had the gun and inside, and they were threatening to shoot me. I remember a point when we were struggling outside that I actually squeezed the trigger of one of the
Right.
guns, and nothing happened. Like it was like it might be a dud, but I was like, I'm not gonna go with them because I know what happens if they cross the
If they take
highway.
you. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, my body's gonna be in the grass somewhere, or
God.
and I didn't, and actually I'm thinking I don't want my dad paying for me. Like, you know, my dad's paying so much. I don't want him like getting, you know, have to, you know, I don't want him to have. So I was like, I'm getting out of this. Like, in my head, there's no way I'm not gonna be able. I'm not leaving this car. I'm getting out.
Okay.
And I really knew. I was like, I wasn't planning. I was like, I know if I get out the highway, I'm done. So I'm getting out, and I'm getting out now. So I got out, kicked out, and this was in so I rolled out like in the parking, like in front of the mall in Alabang in Ayala,
Yeah.
very popular mall.
Yes.
You lived
I
around,
live there.
yeah,
Yeah.
you lived there. So and then they took off with the car. The car didn't have much gas, and then they dropped off the car somewhere, just stole some of my CDs and stuff in the car. But we got the car back, and
You got your
I,
car back.
yeah, and I was there, and what and then went to the police station, kind of said the story of it, unreal. And then my dad was there. um my dad was so calm about it, like, okay, what happened, and he was, I mean, he's just the calm guy, and that really gave me comfort.
Right.
And then I went to school and shared the story like a bunch of times.
Oh, wow. Were you
And
featured in the news? I'm just
actually,
curious.
that's my mistake. They didn't really, and it wasn't like a story and maybe I should have like gone
Just
and
to
said yeah, and said
for
something.
safety for other
But
people.
obviously I wasn't thinking of that.
Yeah.
Just remembering like how it smelled, how it felt. Like I couldn't remember their face honestly, but just too busy. But one thing I really think that might be helpful for people to go through like a traumatic event was that just I think the fact that I just shared it so many times,
Yeah.
that like fresh from like when I went to school, and people were like, "What happened to you? Like you got beat up?" And then I was just and then I was sleeping in the classroom, I was in college already. And then my teacher got mad, said, "Why are you sleeping?" And I gave her a police report. I said, "I'm
Oh
just
my
bruised up right
gosh.
now." And then they just showed me like where I was cut up and bruised. And then said, "Okay, you can rest." And then, so it was. I guess it for me it was highlighting. It was just, when I told the story, I was young. I
Yes.
was highlighting like how I got out of the car, like I
Right.
felt like I was like an action star, and I shared it with a lot of people, and I felt like I was a hero to do that. Man, looking back as I get older, it wasn't me. It wasn't me that confused the driver that went there. It wasn't me that gave the energy or that presence of mind to just
Right.
relax and get out. I mean, it was
It
it was all
was
like kind of working through a divine spirit, and
right.
God was
I
able
believe
to
I
really
believe that.
get
Yeah.
out. So I think I tell my patients, I tell my the people that I'm with, like, I'm happy because I wouldn't have to be here. Like that was like I knew I was dead. Like I could even see it. Like I'm already dead if I went
Yes.
there. So I tell my patients, my friends, like I'm playing with house money. Like I'm not even supposed to be here. I could just live with that joy that this is all a gift, and like anything after that, it's like, okay, I'm
Just
gonna be
grateful.
protected. And yeah, so
Yes.
I was really protected that day, and and it was all because of his doing. And
Yeah.
so I think that was the highlight of that, is that get out in a tight spot. We think we have all the skills to do something about it, but we're being watched over, and I
Yes.
really felt that was
Yes.
that was a good reason. Like it really like I was got like how would a guy like a kid never get confused on how to get out? I think that
Right. I'm sure they're
confusion.
professionals.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt that too, and I think that they might have just caught me because I was alone. Like I said, this young kid in the car.
Hmm.
Let's get him, and um, yeah. So hopefully, I'm sure it's still happening, but
Yes.
I wish I would have opened
Shared
up
it
and maybe
more.
cautioned. Yeah. But
Um, I think this is such a very good story to share because it's happening nowadays. And I'm a mom of teenagers. I have a daughter, and Pep, every day when she drives to work, every day she drives to school, I worry about human trafficking. What we see on TV, it really happens. And you
yeah.
sharing a story like that, how one person, and you did say that you're not really that big, tall guy, you fought 4 men. All right, it's
Yeah.
because of your like perseverance. You're not gonna be in this position, but just sharing that story hopefully resonates with everyone, because anyone can be in that position, especially the teenager women. Like, I'm just, you don't know how
Oh,
protective I am
yeah.
of my daughter, and
Oh,
just
I'm
you
sure.
saying you gotta fight, just get out, or else you'll end up in the
Yeah.
fields.
And and I'm sure every circumstance will
Be
demand like
different.
the right move, but for me, like the fear of getting shot was not
What?
as
Okay.
bad as the need to get out. Like I
Okay.
really needed to get out.
Yes.
But again, like I'm sure there are some instances you may have to follow what they say. But I knew for me that if I left with them, these guys are not gonna give me back, or it was gonna be a lot. So hey, praise
Right.
God, I'm here, and
And you have a purpose. That's why you're here.
yeah,
You meant to be in front of me right now in my podcast sharing your
yeah.
story.
So
And this is just the beginning. I know that Pep has incredible more stories to share that will truly inspire more people. And I just that one alone is just so many things that people can relate with or just learn from it. I want to thank you for sharing that, because
I
that's
hope
very
so.
personal. That's very, just reliving it might trigger something, and I just want to say thank you for sharing that
Hey,
with us.
no problem. Yeah,
pep Pep,
I'm glad to have shared it.
thank you. Pep, what inspired you to pursue a career in internal medicine, and how did your personal health journey influence your path?
Yeah. So as a kid, and I think most of my life, there are people that have their, future planned out for them. Uh, I'm not that person.
Okay.
I
What
like,
do you
I think,
mean,
well,
their family
well,
plans it for them, or is it
no, so,
fate plans it for
no,
them?
I think some people already knew, like, hey, I'm going to
What
be
they
a
want to do?
doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, I know
Okay.
some people, I'm going to be a doctor when I was young. Growing up, like, I grew up with in the Philippines, so trying to figure it out in high school and college, okay, what am I going to do? Like, in high
Okay.
school, like, I spent time working my dad's business, and I wasn't good at that, and I was like, I'm still gonna do that. I'm gonna study and go in business, follow dad's footsteps. And then on the way out to college applications, I went to LaSalle in college, and this
Same
is a true
school.
story. Like
Mm-hmm.
my mom was there for vacation, and my mom was like, hey, why don't you go and become a doctor? I mean, that's been mentioned to me because she's a nurse, and I'm
Okay.
sure every um, family wants a doctor in the family. And it's like, that's a long time. And I didn't, it's like maybe, but I never really crossed my mind. I was really just fixed on getting like business and
Okay.
taking over dad's business. And then I went to school to apply to register for the business. All my applications were for business, and I got turned down with so many colleges. And then LaSalle was an opportunity. I went there. I'm getting in line for business, like in the registrar's office. You have to fall in line, and it was long and it was hot. Philippines
You're
is
right.
hot, and honest to God, this is how it happened. Um, I saw a sign in the biology window, like biology is a pre-med,
Okay.
and there was no one there. I'm like, and
Oh my
I
goodness,
really
your
did.
signs giving
Yeah,
you, showing you
I was like,
signs.
okay, I don't want to stay in line. I'm gonna try to see what's going on in biology, and
Okay.
um, and I mean, I like science too, but it's not like this but that was kind of like the turning point, if you can
Wow.
really say it. I
So
turned to the right,
specific.
and I went there, and then the lady said like there was nobody there, and the reason nobody was there was because sorry, sir, the biology like classes are already closed, already full. And I was like, what? No, no, you can't close it. I'm meant to do biology. For some reason, her
Okay.
denying me had me like going like, no, I need to pursue this. I said, no, you have to like talk to our dean, talk to this. So it took me like a week, so I could have stayed in line longer in LaSalle and it would
Okay.
have been easier. Like, but it took me like almost a week to get into that biology class,
Okay.
writing a letter, why I need to be in biology. For some reason, I had this drive to just focus on that. And anyway, I got in.
Okay.
And
Oh,
but
that's
I
good.
remember going back and then it's like, I think my mom just kind of just whispering, like planting seeds in my head, like, hey, maybe you want to be a doctor, maybe you want to do that. So I think that kind of kicked in
Okay.
when the opportunity arose, and then so that's how I did, and
Okay.
so I was pre-med, and then um, you know, and then after that, didn't know if I was gonna go to med school, but I knew I didn't want to work. I didn't really have like enough skills with biology, or like what am I gonna do with this? And dad's willing to pay for med school, and there was a med school near our home.
Did you go for med school in the Philippines or
Yeah,
abroad?
so I went to med school in the Philippines, and again, I think when I did, if I did, I don't think I may have had that opportunity here in the U.S. where
Okay.
it can get so competitive and costly, and I probably wouldn't even think I probably might have taken a shorter route and got a job somewhere else so I think that really shaped it, and
Well, can I
so
just interrupt and let the
yeah.
viewers know that you are in one of the top three schools in the Philippines? So, just completing your med school there or your pre med
Hmm.
school there, that's a big achievement. I just
Well,
wanted to let you know that it's one of the best schools in the Philippines.
yeah, and that's where I met Lisa, my
Your
wife,
wife.
in med
Mhm.
med school. So I really think the opportunities kind of just present themselves, and not the type of person that has everything all figured out. I kind of thrive in like getting resources and what's available around me, and what are people showing me, and yeah, I think my mom just kind of maybe nudging me to that direction really helped. So
Which is like a typical mother. Their influence on their kids'
yeah,
education and
so
life plan is huge.
yeah,
Do
you,
you
you
agree
could
with
you
me?
could you could start when like baby, just start whispering to them like you're gonna be a you could just
Is
whisper
it
all the things
whispering
you
or is it nagging? Correct me.
um
Is it?
I think there's a fine line, so you gotta when you gotta find line. So no, my mom did, she didn't
No, she meant.
she didn't
I'm
that.
sure she means
Yeah,
well. She
but
meant well. I mean, look
so
at
maybe
you
that
now.
that's how you, yeah, this is this is like, it wasn't supposed to happen, I guess, because I really think like, becoming a doctor, study, it can be overwhelming, and I
Right.
think for anyone who's trying to achieve like such a, like a daunting task like that, to put it all and pile it up. Oh, you add up the 4 years in college or 4 years in med school, an internship, a residency, blah blah blah.
That's a long
Yeah, it's
time. Yeah.
overwhelming, but
Yes.
I really didn't. You just have to enjoy the moment. Like I
Right.
really did like
Yeah.
studying. That's one of the things I thought I was good at, was just staying in school. So yeah. So if I had the finances, and I was fortunate not to have like student debt in the Philippines.
Wow.
So I think for people that are still learning, I think you have to like broaden out, maybe get your formal classes elsewhere,
Yes.
and get a different culture. But I thought it was good. And then I took up our USMLEs too. It's kind of like a leveling platform. So
Okay.
anyone graduating from any accredited medical school can take that exam and just take a test, and it's the same human body that you can learn from, and you
Right.
and you can get similar opportunities as the US graduates here. So it was really yeah,
And
so
just to
it was
encourage the
good.
viewers, you are talking to two individuals who graduated, had their former education in the Philippines, and look at us now. I mean, we are we are succeeding, trying to be successful. We're thriving in our own different field. So um, don't let like the country like stop you. Like you can go anywhere and be the best that you can be, get the best education. Like what Pep said, the school system is really expensive here in America, and if you don't have the means, try just try going in another country like the Philippines, and I assure you, you're gonna get the best education that you can get.
Yeah.
And if you look at a lot of successful people in America, a lot of them are Filipinos. And I'm
Yeah.
proud of where I came from. I'm proud of where I completed my education. So it's just a piece of advice from two individuals who graduated in the Philippines. Although I took two masters in America, but still I took my undergraduate in the Philippines, and really proud of it. Really proud of
Yeah.
it.
No, definitely great teachers, and education systems also improving. But I
You
think,
have to
yeah,
pay
it's a good
cash,
option.
though. You have to
It's
pay cash. There is no student loans in the Philippines. I just wanted to let everyone know that. But it's
yeah.
still not. It's less expensive as compared to like completing your education here, right?
Yeah.
Right. All right. So Pep, like you, I've spent a hybrid life. I spent time in the Philippines, in Australia, and now I'm here in the Philippines. And I just wanted to quickly share the benefits of my experiences having lived in multiple countries. I won't call it hybrid. I mean, yes, it's sort of hybrid, but at the same, but mine is triple because I've been in like three different places. And one thing I am proud of, it's like I really come to appreciate the richness of experiencing different cultures. You know what I mean? And it like growing up, I've had a wider perspective in life, Pep, and I feel it's because of me experiencing the different lifestyle, the different cultures, having
Hmm.
lived in different countries. I feel that I'm really more open to differences, more flexible, and more understanding of people. Like I'm in the United States now, but I look at everybody differently because because I guess of my background. Like I try to accept everyone for who they are, especially there's so many diversity here in America. And if
Hmm.
I didn't come from those countries, it would have been, I don't know, like not as easy for me to associate with the diversity here. And now that
Hmm.
I'm living an American life, but I'm still embracing my roots in the Philippines. And I feel that everything that I've gone through living in Australia, Philippines, and now here has shaped my way of life and my professional journey as well. So even now I'm a speaker, I'm a podcast host, I'm an entrepreneur, and I just focus on global. In everything that I do, I try to influence everybody around the world through my speaking, through my hosting, through my the business that I came up with, which is a global education firm. It's just, I guess, you can't take that away from us because we live in we had a hybrid life, and we see the beauty in just combining all these
Hmm.
experiences in life, right?
Yeah. Especially with like media and
Yes.
everything
Social media, right?
and everything is global, and I'm glad all these opportunities are available now, to reach out, to the masses.
Right.
That's good.
And I feel like you're more successful, or not just successful, you can really make an impact more on a global, wider scale, right? If
Hmm.
you have that mentality. So, yes. So, right now, let's talk about personal health and transformation. And Pep, I really personally haven't experienced a life threatening health condition for myself, but I wanted to share the challenges of living with someone who
Yeah.
has gone through a life threatening condition. So, you know that my husband passed away 2024, right? And a couple of months
Yeah.
before I met my husband, he suffered a massive heart attack at the age of 37. And that
Oh man.
damaged 40% of his heart. So by the
Yeah.
time we met Pep, his life had already changed drastically. He had stents, a defibrillator, and other complications. And he was
Hmm.
only, when I met him, he was 37 and like massive heart issues. Like,
Oh
so from
boy.
being a luxury home contractor, he had to slow down and really tug his business as it's very physical and demanding. And early in our marriage, he would join us on trips. We would go skiing, camping, amusement parks. But after, you know what? After like the first few years, like maybe the first 3 years, that's it. It stopped. He couldn't even come because he had aches and
Fatigue.
pains. Like he couldn't even walk far because he had like heart problem. And like if we traveled, he couldn't pass through a metal detector because because of the
Because of
stents.
devices that he has.
Yeah, and then he
Mm-hmm.
couldn't. He's 6'4", and he couldn't fit in like a
More.
seat, a plain seat. So this just so he really didn't enjoy life as much as he did because of that life-threatening condition. And I feel that my family also, it's not just the person involved, the whole family gets affected.
Oh
And I
yeah.
remember even driving from different hospital, New York, Boston, because sometimes they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him because he had other issues. So, it's just, I just wanted to share that his condition affected every aspect of
Oh
our lives,
yeah.
myself, my kids. And
I could.
I really had to take on dual roles for what, 18 years. It was challenging to balance everything, but it
Mm-hmm.
taught me resilience and really the importance of like cherishing each day.
Yeah.
And you know Pep, I know that your diagnosis of kidney disease shift your
Yeah.
perspective too. Do you want to share about how
Sure.
your experience or like your life lesson from it? So, Dr. Chan, how did your diagnosis of kidney disease shift your perspective, both maybe as a patient and a doctor? And perhaps you can share, as you're sharing, like how did receiving a kidney transplant from your sister impact your outlook of life, relationships, and wellness?
Yeah. When I was 20, I just want to go back. That's when I was diagnosed with an autoimmune condition. It's called IgA nephropathy, and it's autoimmune disease, kind of like what lupus and rheumatoid arthritis
Arthritis.
for the joints. IgA just attacks the kidneys and just happens, but there are mechanisms why it happens, but why it triggers
Is
or
it
why people
genetic?
have
Is
it.
it genetic?
So there is a genetic predisposition for it, and most of it it's actually common in Asians. It's the most common autoimmune kidney in Asians. But when I was 20, I think a big reason why I may have triggered that in me was I was going through a severe like depression, and I actually kind of like sucked in myself and kind of stayed in that mood. And I think that mood and that negative energy in me may have, because I think it ruined my immune system.
Right.
And that's, I think, may have been a trigger. So maybe one thing to share is that people that might be feeling bad, hey, don't get too comfortable in that,
Right.
poor
I feel that.
position. I think the more we brew in our sadness, and even just sometimes we may even get so comfortable because we're
It's a
just
it's
constant.
a defense mechanism.
Yeah, sometimes we can just stay in our bed, and I really didn't want to do anything. Well, when you're sad and depressed, you don't want to do anything, and yeah, and then just kind of brewing in this low energy. So anyway, I was diagnosed then, and getting treated. First the diagnosing, getting treatment. I was fortunate enough to have one of my mom's friends, a nephrologist. She took care of me, got me on the right meds right away, stabilized my
Were you on
disease.
dialysis?
So not yet. Hang on for a second. Sorry.
It's okay.
So not. I was
So
not on
start
the.
with like my mom. My mom.
Yeah, so my mom came down. This was I remember 9/11. This was she had my she came down found from the US because she knew for some reason I was just in the hospital with fever, flu-like symptoms, and that's when I first diagnosed them. And someone had my aunt called my mom in the States. He's in the hospital just, and I thought, I just have the flu and or like some kind of febrile viral illness. And my mom came down because the doctor told her that his kidneys are not well. But when my mom came down, it's like realizing like, why didn't you come down? Like, it's not that serious. For some reason, she knew something was up. Like she
Okay.
knew it wasn't.
What? Just had a feeling, or because this
Yeah, I
doctor
told her
shared
because we
something?
don't have the biopsy yet. We didn't have the
Okay.
biopsy yet, but I got the kidney biopsy. She was there for me when I had the biopsy, but we didn't have any results. And years after, I asked her, "Why did you come down? How did you know it was gonna be serious?" And she said,
Mom's
"We just yeah."
instinct.
She just knew something was up. And then And then she took my biopsy slides, and it was IgA. She traveled to the U.S. and grabbed the slides, and she had to be rerouted because that was 9/11. All the flights were
Right,
rerouted.
right,
So
right.
she told me like she was holding it because they had to be preserved in the cold temperature. But anyway,
She wanted second
a second,
diagnosis.
yeah,
Right.
second opinion. So anyway, yeah, it just kind of reminded me that it was 9/11 around that
Right.
time that the
Right.
diagnosis was. So I think what happened with my illness, I was feeling well. I was on meds. Wasn't really like sickly in my bed because I was young and
Okay.
I was relatively stable, but it did kind of hamper my like what am I going to do after this? Am I going to be able to do these things? But I think again, my physician, my nephrologist, really took control of the situation, and I think that really that really helped me obviously. So that helped me shape kind of like what I've been in a doctor's hand since 20, been,
Wow.
knowing like
Well, how long
if
did this last, Pep?
so it was 20 years of back and forth kind of with flare-ups, and not until I was until 6 years ago I was working already as a nephrologist, and
Here in the
things just in the
States.
States it started to deteriorate. So I had like 20 years with the disease, so close to my late 30s is when it
Right.
started to decline until a point where you need transplant, and that's usually the
The
prognosis of having
final.
a and that's a good prognosis. Some people end up having dialysis on
Right.
their
So wait, having a transplant is better than going through dialysis?
yeah, absolutely. So if
Okay.
you can get a transplant, you 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 rather do that. But
Okay.
anyway, so as my disease was progressing, that's when the decision was like, okay, we need to look for a transplant. So I wasn't on
A
dialysis
donor,
yet,
yeah.
so a transplant donor, and
Wait,
my
America or in the
so
Philippines? Were you still?
yeah, I'm here in
You were
America.
already in
Yeah,
America. Okay. Oh,
and
6 years ago. You said 6 years
yeah,
ago.
so this is jumping,
Okay.
up to 6 years
Okay.
ago, and my sister came down, and
Okay.
she's healthy, and didn't even ask. It's like she also knew, like she was the one who's gonna do this. She it's like okay, like we're let's we're well, let's do it because she knew she knew my sister had kids. She didn't want them. She knew she's gonna be the one to do it, and I told
Wow.
her, sat down like you don't have to do anything, I just wanted
That's
to give her the
amazing.
opportunity to say no. But anyway, I was on dialysis for 2 weeks before my transplant in 2019. So this is a real blessing to just have everything go right.
Right.
I've worked in transplant and kidney transplant. There are so many things that can just go wrong. I've seen like fathers give their kidneys to their son, and 2 weeks later the kidney just failed because of a kinked artery or something.
Okay.
So all those things were kind of plaguing my head, like I hope she's
Like
okay. And
the what if?
yeah, like, and the kidney was fine. I was eating. I was feeling so good right after. And then as I was getting better in the hospital, my sister was getting poorer because she was like, I've never been so sick, like, and I'm like, I've never been so well. And then I'm
Aw.
eating, and we're in the hospital bed, and I felt sorry because she doesn't get sick. So I'm on my way up. She's recovering from the surgery. She's doing great,
Now
thank
she's
God.
doing
And
great.
oh yeah, she's been doing, it was post-operative,
Okay.
like symptoms that she was
Okay.
having. So again, all the blessings of God that she was a match, and everything
Did that
was
influence
good.
your decision to
Yes,
are you a nephrologist right now?
yes, right. So whenever, even before, one of the things I could share about having a disease, I'm sure anyone that goes to their doctor and goes and get labs, the anticipation of what is it now, or what, I go through that like every 3 months, because sometimes your doctor will tell you it's getting better or not. And I mean, I knew what was going on, so every time I would see things deteriorate, I said, "Man, I'm doing everything. I've consulted other nephrologists. You've done everything, but really the body is very complex, and medicine is not complete enough to really control everything.
Right, right.
So I think that lack of control can make someone very anxious, and you're thinking we can
Yes.
control everything. Really, we can't. But I'm already a nephrologist and trying to handle my kidney disease with the kidney doctors surrounding me getting their opinion. So I wasn't um, lacking in skill, knowledge, or technology to treat it. So we did everything we could, but eventually it failed. But I think I was on the right treatment. But my nephrologist in the Philippines really inspired me. Like, yeah,
Okay.
that's the direction I wanted to take
Okay.
my specialty. And so it did really shape me, because when I was in dialysis, wow, this is what my patients went through, and now I
Yes.
know what I've been through, like from the diagnosis to the dialysis to the transplant, and I'm very fortunate to
Right.
that everything went well. But yeah, dialysis is not fun, and but if you have a healthy kidney and someone, I mean, you should think about
Donor. Donor.
donating. I think it's definitely gonna transform lives. That's
If there,
physically.
yeah, if there is
Yeah,
anyone, if there's another importance to this podcast, just what you said alone. If
yeah,
you have a healthy organ, doesn't have to be kidney, or even first time applying for a driver's license, just consider being an organ donor. One
for
reason that
sure.
healed us as a family when my husband passed away is because he was been so sickly, Pep, but he
Hmm.
was able to donate his organs, kidney, a heart, not heart, eyes,
Hmm.
liver. And all this time he was like, no, I don't want to be a donor, organ donor, because I know I'm sick. But the hospital gave me the what do you call that? Gave me an option. Like I had the right, because at that time he was already brain dead. An option, and I said yes. And then imagine the lives that
Yes.
are living right now, the families that lives have changed because of that decision of me saying yes, when all this time we really thought that
Hmm.
none of his organs would work. But you know what, I like what you said. If anyone here know of anyone or yourself, it can truly change
What a,
somebody's life.
yeah, what amazes me is and I've seen when working in transit, there are altruistic donors who want to be kept anonymous, and
Okay.
I've seen that, like they're not related, they just want to give out the
Okay.
kidney, and I've seen them, follow up me and said, wow, you just gave out your kidney. I mean, people could live very healthy, normal lives after a kidney. I mean, obviously there's some precautions you may have to
Right.
take, but it's you could do really well with just one kidney. But I think something to if you wanted to help somebody, it's a definitely good way to give life to someone
Right.
who's literally dying. Because dialysis is good, but the
It's
prognosis dialysis is
it kind of
five
your
five
it
eight
breaks
years.
you, right? It breaks you
Yeah,
emotionally, physically.
because it's just doing our kidneys filter like 24/7, and you're
Okay.
going to the facility only 3 hours 3 times a week, so all those toxins will hurt you, and
Okay.
so it's definitely something to think about. But
And I just wanted also to share with the viewers how a death becomes, I didn't realize that somebody's death could become something precious after going through that organ donation with my husband. The group called Lifelink really showed us how a death could be, like you said, life changing. We had to go through, he was honored, my husband's death was honored through an honor walk, like when they were transport is that the word, transporting his body to the operating room to
hmm.
finally pull the plugs. Everybody from the hospital came out to honor us, to honor him. And another way that they honored him as an organ donor is for 3 days they raised the flag in front of the hospital in honor of him. And then after 3 days they mailed the flag to me. And you know, Pep, it's sad losing someone, but at the same time, it's like I know that we did the right thing. Like I know that my husband is smiling right now, saying, "You did it. Like thank you for doing this for me." It just honored his passing, his loss. So, like I said, whenever I watch TikTok and I see the same honor walk, or I see that flag raising, it's just something personal for me, because it's just an honor donating organs. And look at Pep right now. He wouldn't be here sharing his story with you if it not for a beautiful soul like his sister. And whoever you are, you can be a stranger. You can actually help anyone if you want to. That's just like something personal for me when it comes to like what you just shared.
Well, I'm glad that your husband had an honorable passing. I really think
Very.
it shows how much, like, the life that he lived. I'm sure I never knew him, but I know that the way a person, passes is a good reflection of
Yes.
how he lived his life. I mean, it looks like he's surrounded with family, and and he lived an honorable life. So
Yes.
that's
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. And it was also our way of acceptance. Like it uplifted the whole
Yeah.
family because of that. It wasn't all like, yes, it was depressing and sad because of the loss, but at the same time, wow, we changed lives. He changed lives. He saved
Hmm.
lives. We kept thinking, and until now they keep sending us invites to, like, there's this group on different chat groups, or in, if you're still suffering from the loss, you can help each other heal. Just a lot of resources, support resources for anyone
Hmm.
undergoing grief and loss of someone. So just a wonderful way to look at organ donation. And I think, thank you, I've never had anyone as guests to really talk about that, and I just want to say thank you. That means a lot for me. That's personal for me. Thank you.
No problem, Candice. Yeah.
Pep, let's talk about faith and beliefs. And I'm going to be sharing something like personal with you when it comes to that topic.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I know your story from the kidnapping and your
Hmm.
your illness. It's not just the nephrologist who inspired you. We all know that it's like, our Lord God who did that to you, who gave you that, the everything that's happened to you.
Hmm.
You're here because of that. So that really resonates with me. And I just wanted to share that I've always, Pep, I've always been a church grower. I grew up Catholic. Us in the Philippines, we're all Catholic. Most of us went to
Hmm.
Catholic school and later started attending Christian church in New York and Connecticut. I would even volunteer to teach during Sunday school for kids with special needs. Even
Hmm.
my own kids would help, and it was just something that I did every Sunday, and like the way I showed my faith to God is just going to church every Sunday. But this is the first time I'm sharing this. When I moved to Florida, Pep, I
Hmm.
really struggled to find a church that aligned with my values and beliefs. Like many churches, I feel that many churches here felt politically motivated, which didn't resonate with me. I know that I might be questioned or unappreciated when I say this, but this is just my personal story, and I have nothing against any church here. Maybe I
Hmm.
just didn't find the church truly for me. But I just believe that church should be all about love, kindness, and compassion. And if I don't see that,
Hmm.
I just rather turn my back. But it doesn't mean I've given up on faith, Pep. I've
Hmm.
never felt closer to God than I do now. I've been strengthening my faith alone, doing other things to spread kindness and love. And I'm not completely opposed to going back to church. If God tells me it's the right time, go back, then
Yeah.
I'll do it. I've always loved going to church. It just wasn't the right church for me. And I just wanted to share with you that wherever you are at the point of your life, a churchgoer, not a churchgoer, if you have faith in you, if you believe in the Almighty, then you know what? It's okay. It's okay. You're going to be led to what your belief and faith is supposed to be.
Hmm.
And just as long as you're doing something kind to others and you have compassion, then you're fine. That's what I wanted to share. What
Well, that's
about you?
good.
How
I
was
didn't,
your
I didn't know
how
you
was your
taught
faith?
Sunday school. I didn't. Yeah, that's great. Um,
How was
so
your faith guide you through your personal and professional? challenges.
And it's my stronghold, it's my crutch, it's what I lean on, it's what I stand on, and it's what I live for. It's like never used to be like that. You grow up in Catholic faith. I believe, but I don't.
Yes, same.
But I believed in the theology of it, but I didn't know there was like a step beyond that. And it was when I was working in a hospital, 20 around 2011, 2020. I'm sorry, like
Here
around
already in
in
America.
the U.S.
Okay.
I think that's where all things kind of change, and my life's purpose, the way I thought and saw the world change. So I was in the nurses station just doing work, and one of the nurses that I talked to, she came over and said, "Hey, Dr. Chan, it's my last day seeing you. Like I'm leaving." It's like, "Where are you going?" And she's young. She's probably in her early 30s, and she has a life ahead of her. It's like she's dropping nursing school. And said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm going to Colorado and I'm gonna study the Bible." It's like Bible college, and it's like
Okay.
they have that. It's like I didn't even realize that they have. It's like
They
what?
have some, yeah.
Yeah, it's like what would make someone who's just starting a career drop everything off and study Bible college? And then she was like, "Well, I was just listening to this TV evangelist, and I've really." She really changed my life, and I know the term TV evangelist may turn off some people,
Same.
but
Yeah.
that's fine. So anyway, she mentioned his name, and I grabbed YouTube and kind of listened in what he said, and it was the book of Romans in Scripture that really opened everything up to me, where I felt, wow, I'm in really trouble. Like in my situation right now, I'm in trouble, and there's really no other way out except through Christ. That's like we need Him. I need Him, and when thinking I'm living a good life, and after reading the scripture, it's like, no, I need Christ. And
Right.
so when I gone through that and read through initial scriptures and going, I was just kind of overblown on things that I'm missing or didn't realize, and so that really changed my paradigm, my shift. And so I'm really thankful for for that nurse, and to kind of start the
So are you
momentum.
going through the same journey as the nurse that you met? So,
Actually, yeah, since the pandemic, I've been attending like
okay.
I'm attending like theology classes online, and I know that's what I'm gonna do after or whenever, and it's just for
Share
me.
how.
Um,
What,
s-
how are you
yeah,
plan to?
so I don't know yet, but I know like getting into scripture and sharing the gospel is really what I'm going to be doing long term, and
Okay.
like Bible literacy, and also it's just a transforming. That's what really is shaping my life. So that's probably my next and ongoing mission, and I'm happy to be attending like this online classes on just regarding the topic that really that feeds me, and the topic that I'm very passionate about. But it's just amazing. Like I'm realizing before we talk, I'm just gonna shift like how much of like everyone that influenced me in my life happened to be females. Like this,
With
there,
females.
yeah,
Okay.
there's just such a strong like. So I just got
Influence.
yeah that, and that's what I really wanted to highlight about my life. I think my life is one that wants to show off who God and Christ is in my life. And then one is like the people that surrounded me, particularly females.
Yes.
My I haven't even talked to how my wife
Yes.
is changing me, how my mom nudged me, how the female physician and my sister, and you guys have the power to the empowerment. So I'm really empowered by the females that God has surrounded me with, um, and why I didn't get that from men. I think I know why. Not
Why?
that
That's
no
interesting.
no
Why?
I do feel like when my dad was never I grew up with two sisters, so I'm very comfortable with females growing up,
Okay.
and in high school and college, like our group of friends always had like females. It wasn't just like I didn't really hang out with like all boys. I had like two or three or like few good men around me, but
Okay.
I've I resonated with females. I feel like when it comes to um, things that are deeper or existential, I guess it's easier to talk to a female. But I think it's just the way I was shaped. It just
Right,
people
right.
in my life that really influence me is females. Not to say that I mean like males don't do it. It's just like what I would the places I turn to, the ones that were great influencers
Right.
were females. So
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's amazing to
yeah
for
I
you to share with others that women actually had the power to change
that
someone or influence someone. That's big. That's big. That's a big realization.
No, like even like how I got into that female nurse that got it's like everything is just kind of I have like some male role models. Like I look at my dad and just kind of studied his mannerism, his behavior, and his generosity and those things. But I like for some reason like if I look at like the cast of people that influenced my life, there'll be a few men, but it's like, oh, it's all females. That's why I realized like before coming to the show, like I know empowerment. The empowerment comes from the people that surrounded me and that was put in my way. And I was like, why are they all females? So I was like, but
I love
it's
that.
good because so so I think you have an empower, yeah, you're empowering your ability to empower people is strong. And I think a female
Thank you.
can use it and hopefully use it in a very positive way.
I just feel that women really, by nature, are nurturing. They are gentle. I mean, typically, right? And loving and accepting. And yes, we meet nowadays, women in society are different. But sometimes women just need to have like a little nudge or push. They go through life challenges and realizes that, hey, I'm not this person that I'm becoming now. I'm better than this, and this is why I came up with this podcast channel, just to really bring out the goodness in everyone, particularly women, because I'm a woman myself and I want to be an example for others that I wasn't like this before. Yes, I've been an educator, I do a lot of good things, but just really going deep, really deep into empowering others through my voice, through my shows, through my podcasting, and my future plans in life. Women, I mean, you have a voice. We all do. But you specifically mentioned women, so I'm going to say
Yeah.
women. We do have a voice, very powerful one, if you just really go deep and find your beauty, your authenticity, your embrace whatever weakness, challenges you go through, and make it you. That's what happened to me, Pep. Like whatever ugly side of me, whatever challenges, whatever things that I had was dealing with, I just used it to become a better person. And I'm using this platform. I'm just going all over social media, not for fame, not for money, but really just making that change. You know, what I mean, if you and I can change one or two individuals from this
hmm
podcast based on what you shared, which is a lot of sharing, then you know what? I can breathe and say,
hmm
"Wow." You know what I mean? That's my purpose and that's my plan. And every yes, I'm not going to church, but every step that I do, every move that I make is divinely guided. I do it
hmm
for the Lord, and I get this strength because of him, because I'm asked to do this. And I'm trying to say this because everyone might be in a different point in their life,
hmm
spiritually, financially, emotionally. But if you have the power to change or make a difference, anyone can do it.
Yeah, and again, I think like being female is already a one up. You already have like the attributes, and when you said, being caring and accepting, I think that's what I needed, to be accepted, and I think that's why I gravitated, to in my friends in school, like, because I think with men and like, I mean, I'm a pretty decent athlete. I do like manly stuff,
Oh
but
yeah, you do.
I do feel like when you get a group of guys like that, if you ever see them in high school, you spot them like the jocks. They're kind of they have to have the same build. They have to have like the same height, maybe even talk the same. It's like the guys would have a pack mentality, and we have to kind of look and be similar. But I just don't
Is
have
that the
that fit.
machismo? Is that what you call the
No, I think
machismo?
it's just probably the way they at least when I was growing in high school, but my friends were always like the like I had some friends who were like popular group or sometimes like in the nerdy group and females, and we are just like different, but which is good, but I just feel that being a female to influence a body, you already have, you know, the attributes and in a different way, and men will do that in a and lead in a different way as well. So it's good that and I think that's how things get complemented
Right. Thank you.
is through
Yeah,
that
both. And that's
different
also
way.
the reason why I'm featuring you guys, men, during my January series, because I don't want to overlook the power of men also
Mm-hmm.
sharing their story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, both. And you know what, when you mentioned about women inspiring you, you don't have to go far. You can start with your sister. You can start with your mother. You can start with your girlfriend or your wife. Just find the beauty in them and let yours shine. Let yourself shine because of the women that surrounds you. Right? You don't have to go
Yeah.
far. You don't have to go far. Start with your own mom. Listen to your mom. Have a good relationship with your mom, because not everybody has a good relationship with their mothers. Start with your sister. Give her a phone call and just start having better connection and relationship with them. Your friends, like from college, reach out, because you never know how they can help you, in whatever you're dealing with, or just to inspire you. So you don't have to go far when it comes. There are women everywhere that can help you. Can
Yeah.
help.
Certainly.
And like I
Yeah.
said, this month it's all about men. You guys rock. You guys are so powerful too. And sometimes you just need to be vulnerable and be open to sharing. You know what I mean? How many men
Yeah.
out there will be like, "No, I don't want. I have nothing to share," or like, I'm shy." No, no. You don't know your power until you really accept the challenge. And I just want to say thank you, Pep, again
Mm.
for
No,
being here. All
no problem.
right, so
Yeah.
thank you. So let's talk about the power of wellness. So when it comes to wellness, 2024 really is a big wellness for me. I went
Mm-hmm.
on a self care, self love journey, and really, like, let's backtrack when you said that you feel like the reason why you had that kidney illness is because you were having some issues or mental, like you were dealing with some depression and something like that. So I just wanted to highlight in this part of our podcast how really wellness means taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally, and the power of you having that self-love, because you value these things that I mentioned. It's powerful when you finally learn to love yourself, Pep. I feel like nothing is impossible for you to achieve when you have that self care, when you are
Mm-hmm.
finally finding your authentic self and just embracing who you are and not being somebody you're not. Oh my God, it's the best journey that I've ever taken. And I'm not done. Self care, self love journey is lifelong. You can't stop. Love yourself. Do things that will really make you whole, or, embrace your weaknesses, embrace your challenges, and just,
Mm-hmm.
you know, work on it. And only when you learn to love yourself can you really uplift others and show compassion to the world. That's how I learned this 2024. What
Yeah.
about you, Pep? How do you define wellness, and maybe what steps do you take to maintain it in your daily life?
Yeah. Well, I think you know, getting out of that depression. Someone has to also get you out. Sometimes you're in a rut, and someone
Right.
just needs to get you out. You know, Meeting Lisa, my wife, is probably the turning point and how I'm able to maintain myself well. And now I'm not really good at self-loving myself. Like I I had to be shown that. Like
Okay.
I think the way my wife has done that. Um, Obviously that's why we got married. I'd never seen anyone love me that much. And growing up in the Philippines and my transplant, and it's being having someone there for you and with you is so important. And that like my relationship with my sister and my mother could be a lot worse too if sometimes my wife sometimes shows me how to be a
To
better
love.
son, how
Oh,
to be after all these, I'm 44, like she's showing me like you can do this for your mother and this you shouldn't. So listening to, if you have a wife, just gotta listen to
oh,
them. When I see people who are well in my patients and there's in my office, they are being watched over by their wife who does real well. And statistics do show that if you are married and or if you're they males who have been married, they do live longer because we have um,
wow.
you guys outlive us. So by an average of at least 5 years. So and that's
And you're
just a
talking
physiologic.
statistics, huh?
Yeah, right. So I think having someone look after you makes you well. So that's a big part of it. And then the other things are kind of more the besides the physical part of me. I enjoy exercise, so making sure I listen to my body and trying to learn also when to take a break.
Right.
So that keeps me well.
Mm-hmm.
And again, just highlighting my spiritual food. And when I was growing up in like Catholicism and doing those things, I never really read scripture, but the power of eating the bread in scripture as
Your
my bread,
soul.
like I really thrive on
Yeah.
making that like my morning, like instead of going through social media and trying to get a morning verse in me, these verses really empower me.
Right.
And so that spiritual health kind of is the engine that gets everything else going. And
For
again,
you.
for me, that is the strong point. And yeah, making sure to get help. Like I need a doctor too, so I get
Yes,
well
I love
because
that.
I need someone to look after me in that physical sense. So
Yes.
and you know what? My kid, I'm a kidney doctor, but I have a kidney doctor, and she's female too. Dr.
Oh,
Thadi, shout out to Dr. Thadi. But again, they just have a just feel want to have that cared for um, energy, and so that's how I feel
very
feel
beautiful.
well. Yeah, yeah,
Please make sure that you share this with your nephrologist because that's what you just shared about her.
yeah.
She's gonna make. You're gonna make her cry. You're gonna make her cry. You
No,
just
she
said so
was
many
there.
nice things about her. Um, just so
Yeah.
nice. Thank you. Sometimes you want to be appreciated and honored because like people don't know how you're changing someone's perspective and someone's life, right?
Yeah, and yeah, and I'm just just happy to be around the people that I'm with right now, and you know,
And I
so
think you mentioning your wife can probably help with a lot of our audience and viewers when maybe some people are having a hard time, maybe with relationships or maybe single right now, trying to decide, like, why is my life like this? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what change can I do? Like what you said, there's really, if you find the right woman, that could be your self-love. That's how you can love yourself or make you see things in a different perspective. Just be open to love. That's a big lesson that I took from what you
hmm
just shared about Lisa. Lisa's an
yeah,
amazing woman, beautiful woman, inside out.
yeah, and just the things that she's also an educator, and
Yes.
just the way she's changing lives, and
I
the,
want my husband
hey,
talking to me about like that.
no, just the way
My
she's changing
gosh.
lives in the classroom, and how I see her coworkers like just making their lives easier at work. So she's really an ass. She actually trained in that school that she's
Okay.
helping become become like a better school for them. So she kind of knows the ins and out. But don't tell her I told you this. But you should invite her to your podcast
Oh,
because
I would. All right.
I know she's not
February.
she's probably not comfortable with like talking, but she's someone that people will
No,
really
but you can
learn
share
learn
with her
from.
how it's just a
Yeah.
conversation. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, I'm sure she'll.
Yeah.
But yeah, she should be the one sitting. She's sitting here.
You
But
first, and then I'll get her
yeah,
first
with a
February.
no,
Don't tell
but
her. I'm gonna surprise her.
no, but
All right. So, the last parts of our conversation, let's talk
mm-hmm,
about advice and reflection, because this is what my series is all about. Just really
mm-hmm,
having that piece of reflection and advice that you can share with others. So, Pep, as you know, I'm a keynote speaker, a podcast host, aspiring author, and a live show host, and an entrepreneur too. So, this is my purpose in life, divinely guided. It wasn't something that I wanted to do. It was like God spoke with me, please do this, change career, because it's my divine calling. Every day I wake up, I'm being led. Everything that I'm doing right now is being led to me divinely.
good.
I have a beautiful relationship with God, and I feel that everything that I do is because of this purpose.
Mm-hmm,
And this is how I offer advice to my viewers, my readers, and audience. Whatever I'm doing, I just want to simply encourage people really to find their strength, their authenticity, and their strength, resilience, so that they can start believing in themselves. Because nowadays, Pep, with everything going on around us, you can easily lose yourself and just find yourself, like you said, in a depression, in a rut, or just not having that courage and strength to even live,
mm-hmm,
function on a day-to-day basis. So it is really powerful when they can hear stories from others on how a simple me can become this because of like hard work and perseverance. And this is what I do right now. This is my way of advising or giving myself to others. Just really believe in yourself, find your authentic self. Only that can you start uplifting others and honestly helping change the world. You can do it. You can do it. Anybody can. You don't have to be a doctor. You don't have to be a business owner. No, anyone can be a catalyst for change. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. What
good.
about you, Pep? For others facing challenges, difficult journeys, what advice or encouragement would you offer?
Mm. Well, one is be thankful. I think like the
I like that.
moment that you see an adversity, because you gotta expect it. Anytime that
Yes.
you're gonna take on something, like there's gonna be adversity. It's like it's gonna come, and it's a good thing. So embrace it. For me, like when adversity hits in, and I need to do this more. I get in a thankful. So when I get something bigger than I am or an adversity, I do
Yes.
feel like that's a time for God to shine. That's a time for me to get into a more wanting, like craving for, I need your help. I think
Yes.
when that starts in, and I see how big my God is, and the problem gets so much smaller. And so I just thankful because that gives me the opportunity. It's going to be a growth for me. Something good
Yes.
going to come up, and that adversity is allows me to get closer with Him. So that's number one. And then the other thing that I look is if you're overwhelmed and like nothing is working, it's gonna be fine because it's gonna pass.
Love it.
I really think like when nothing is working and you're doing everything that you can, look at where we at now. Like we're
Yes.
alive, we got a roof over our head, and we've always been provided. So there's always going to be something. I think when our mindset is just kind of too focused on our problem, like
Mm-hmm.
you see a lot, look around you, there's going to be some help, and so you're always going to be provided. I always tell myself that, like when I see something so big, it's like, what do we got to worry about? Like I mean, me personally, I've seen so many things in my life that God had pulled me out of from, so I'm going to be fine. And if it's pain, if it's physical pain or anything like that, time will heal, and time will show you things. So I think being patient is something
Right.
that you have to have with adversity. So that's the other thing I would say is time will heal. And the other probably last thing I wanted to share with when we face like adversity, and again realizing this is an opportunity. for growth is,
Right.
besides, just embracing it and being thankful for it. If it's like anxiety that's your adversity, or something that's giving you actual pain, even chest pain, can't, and if it's intrusive, like you can't function in your life, you might have to seek professional
Doctor,
help.
medical.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's the medical side of me saying that, hey, if
Don't self-medicate.
yeah, if it's getting into a point where it's intrusive in your daily life, that's when depression and anxiety needs to be treated sometimes
Okay.
with just getting therapy for help, and also medications may be
Okay.
needed. So
Okay.
if you're feeling what we call somatization, or actual physical pain from an
Right.
anxiety, your heart's racing, you're always having bothered by a headache, make sure you seek your doctor. I mean,
Right.
that's especially men, we tend to neglect our symptoms. So that's just our nature. I hear it a lot, but yeah, go see your doctor. I think it's,
Yes.
just, so that's probably the other thing that I wanted to share is that, um, yeah, seek help. Don't be stubborn, like some of my patients. Uh,
Well, that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Because like people overlook things because, like what you said, they self-medicate or they think they're all right, and they wait until they are so low and down and
hmm
depressed before they seek help. But seeking help could be here, listening to a podcast, meditation, being mindful, having positive affirmations, and opening the Bible, reading, having a relationship with whoever you honor. Because I
mm,
do have a lot of viewers who are also, um, they're Jewish. They have,
yeah.
it's whoever you believe in, whoever you believe in. Just have that connection, just like what Pep said, because before you know it, I mean, it is the most powerful help or realization that you'll ever realize. It's the divine help, and it's just there right in front of you, waiting for you to call, waiting for you to reach
hmm
out. Doesn't have You don't have to go through a course, you don't have to go through something big. It's just conversation,
hmm
and just believing that somebody higher than you, or divine, is here to always protect you during these times of adversity. That's one thing I realized too.
And then the other thing that I did want to share is, about adversities, and facing a crisis or a problem, and overcoming our fears. Is lastly is, I always ask my question, like, is what you're doing worth it? If it's not worth it, like if it's something that you're really not invested in, yeah,
Yes.
maybe change the goal. Maybe it is not worth it. Maybe you need to stop and take a break and maybe shift, because if it's not worth it, you won't really have that drive and that passion.
Yes.
But if it's worth it, like if you're going through depression, is your life worth more, bigger than your depression? Obviously it is. If it's, helping another person, isn't that worth it? So if I think if our goals are pure, and what we really want to do is not self-driven, it's gonna work. If
Yes.
it's out there, I think if it's out there, it's gonna propel to something bigger, because,
Yes.
again, I think, we have to kind of also look, if our motives are self-driven, then maybe it's not what we want.
And
Yeah,
it's not your path. Maybe it's time to
yeah,
self-reflect and see what's gonna lead you to a better, more fulfilling path, right?
yeah.
And can I just add to what you said? It's never too late to start, to find yourself. I made this big career change at the age of, I'm not going to say my age, but it's never too late. If you wake up one day and say that I need a change in my life,
Mm-hmm.
whether spiritually, emotionally, career wise, professional, personal, just go for it. Just do it. You are going to encounter setbacks, but it's those setbacks that's going to make you stronger.
Yeah, I
And
think that. Yeah.
without those setbacks, without these adversities, you're not gonna grow. This is how you grow. I get setbacks every day, but I face it head on, and I make it part of me. I just make it part of me, and that's how you're gonna be strong as a person. And again, don't even just start whatever
Yeah.
you think. It's not too
start.
late for anyone.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on. Just start. Sometimes when I get in a rut, I think it's the stagnation, just being stuck. Like get out of the situation, like get out of your bed and
Yes.
actually just walk around. Or if you get like all these negative thoughts, I always think that
Self doubt.
what we
Yeah.
because we it freezes us. I was like, keep moving, just like go, take your car, go to the park or drive. But motion, I think, will help. Just staying in motion. So get started and move. Try not to get stuck. I think that will
Help too.
keep the momentum going.
Right.
And so
And
yeah,
just believing in yourself no matter what you do, your profession. Like I'm a teacher now, a motivational speaker, host, entrepreneur, and I plan to change the world in
yeah,
what my speaking. You can do it.
yeah,
Anyone can do it. If you just have that willingness to learn, willingness to change, willingness to maybe accept a different path in your life,
hmm,
just be open. Just be open. Anyone can be successful in however you define success.
yeah,
You know what I mean? You can be successful in your own way, and just love yourself.
yeah.
This love
That's
show that I do weekly, I believe in the power of loving yourself. That's the only way you can, I guess, find the beauty of the world. Really love yourself. It's hard. That's why you have to go through the process because it's not easy. Right. I mean, Pep found it because of the support of his wife. Then that's his strategy. Then that's okay. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Anything works as long as your purpose, your ultimate goal is really accepting who you are and embracing your whole self and be authentic. Right.
Oh
All
yeah,
right.
being
Bet
authentic. Yeah, you got.
being
Yeah.
authentic. And this is all about my podcast. I embrace authenticity. I am who I am because of
Hmm.
I embrace myself, good, bad. This is me, and I'll never change. I'll change for the better, but I won't change myself just to please others or for other purpose, rather other than making a difference.
Yeah,
All right,
that's
so
that's living a bold life. Yeah, that's
I don't
and we
know.
have
Like you,
that we have to be
I was in
bold.
your house
Hmm.
before I became this one. Remember, like you
Hmm.
offered your house, we were there. I was just starting, and looking back, I guess
Hmm.
summer. But looking back now, I feel like, oh my God, even myself, I get surprised on where I've gotten far, and
Hmm.
it's all just that that initiative or that willingness to change, to make a difference, right?
Yeah, that's why I did I wanted to contribute to your podcast because your
Yes.
energy and that juice you have right now, I hope it continues and that you continue to be inspired and inspire others. So,
Thank you. And I
yeah.
do have a lot of endeavors. We can collaborate. Maybe we can reach out to each other and still have this connection.
Mm-hmm.
And, because our purpose is, praising our Lord
Mm-hmm.
and just making a difference. And maybe,
You're making a
at one
difference.
time,
Yeah.
maybe we will meet again for not just for because, for vacation or what. It's because for a higher purpose,
Yeah.
right? All right.
Definitely.
So this is a question that I ask before I wrap up.
Mm-hmm.
Every guest, I always want them to leave something behind to the viewers or audience.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if they see the podcast with Dr. Chan, what is a quote or a topic or a concept that you want them to remember you
Candace.
by? So, Dr. Chan, before we close, I always ask this to all
Mm-hmm.
my guests. If there's one concept, a topic, or a quote that you'd like to leave our listeners with,
Mm-hmm.
something they'll remember you by, what would that be?
Yeah, so thanks, Candace. So I remember in Hot Wings, it's a podcast with either Hot Wings and the host will always like,
Yeah, they're
what's
all
going on?
eating.
What's going on in your life? What's the last thing they want to share? I always kind of always thought about
I
what's
didn't even know that.
yeah,
This
a
is
lot of
just
podcasts
me.
kind of like wrap it up, like here's your chance. What do you want to show to the world? And I always kind of had something in mind, and that's where I think my perspective is unique because I've gone through experiences and influenced and been influenced by people and gone through a path. So my take on this is it is not probably what others is used to hearing. But I thank you for getting an opportunity. So one thing that really changed my whole paradigm shift and my self identity and my self worth, my the
Wow.
purpose, um, and it is really when I got to know who God is, who and having to be able to trust Him. And when I didn't know who He is and who what He is through Scripture, I wouldn't know how to trust Him. You can't trust somebody you don't know. So I think this
Yes.
relationship that I'm growing is really changing my life, and I really encourage those who are already believing or are believers that yeah, get in your scripture, like playing the piano or the guitar. You have to train yourself
Right.
in reading it. It's not really complex, but it does take time and dedication, and it's really worth it.
Okay.
It's like a glass of water. It really quenches me and my soul, and again, I think only some will resonate with that, and that's fine. That's probably I'm going to be bold enough to say that I would encourage them. Now for the non-believers, I would invite you to even read through it. It's a very interesting book, and there's a lot, definitely historical. I mean, definitely. Again, I'm not saying it because it's not true. Because for me, I hold it to be true. Is to invite you to maybe look through it, and if you haven't know what it is about, I think you start with you start by maybe getting some maybe on YouTube, probably the shorter version. But if you pick up scripture, I think you'll be amazed in things that are not of this world teaching. And I think sometimes we get stuck on just believing things that are saying, but maybe look for it yourself and look at the evidence
Yes.
for that. I
Mhm.
think that's probably the first and foremost is trusting in someone who you know,
Yes.
and I think that's how I got to trust him. And the last thing is the people around you, the people in front of you is I think how I have to change the world is the people in front of me. And having this time, I think could be a very daunting task to see how you're gonna like change the whole landscape of the world. I think it's the people that you're being surrounded with, like get help,
Right.
help somebody, and like just focusing on that person in front of you. And I'm so thankful for my patients. I always thank them, and and they gave me gifts for Christmas. Like I give them little trinkets and gifts to
Yeah.
just thank them. Hey, you trusted me,
Yes.
and without you, I'm probably at home playing video games, or I don't have a job because of you. And just being grateful for that person in front of you is I think that's a real opportunity to change maybe their life and support them and help them. So those are probably two things, and I'm good with my life if I'm able to have done something positive with those two things.
Yes.
And yeah, so
Maybe we
that's
can
it.
share this podcast link to your staff members, I mean, the people that you work with, because
Oh,
you said something nice about them.
I could just do a podcast, a topic on staff members, like how really like in the office, like maybe just talking like how to talk to a medical staff, how what they're doing for you is behind the scenes, and the doctor gets all the credit, but
That is
the
so
staff
wonderful.
is like what the reason why I did. I'm practicing internal medicine, but the people around me makes my life so easy. And I used to, if you've ever worked in a place where you're getting chest pain walking in the building and having that, why am I here feeling,
Right?
it's so much good to appreciate the people around you. Like you feel loved and you feel good. So if you're getting like chest pains going to work, go get another job, find another job.
No, no.
I had that in my
Yeah, no,
other jobs. It's like, this is not
you're
right.
not in the right place. You're not in
Yeah.
the right place.
So I was, but I'm glad with people that that I'm surrounded with, and so
And
that's it.
maybe you're giving me an idea. Maybe March or April, I'm talking about like group influence. You know what I mean? How you uplift
Yeah,
each
I
other. That
think
would be nice,
yeah, I
right?
think a specific relationship at the
Yeah, yeah,
workforce
deep
at the
into, yeah, I like
yeah.
that. I like that. Pep, do you have any other? parting words before we close the
No, yeah.
podcast?
So hopefully, people are listening or having a good time and hopefully being inspired and act on it. Like, don't let that inspiration dwindle out. Yeah, like
Yes.
if you got the juice or if you got the motivation now, that try not to wait too long. I guess sometimes I'm preaching to myself too because sometimes I can be a procrastinator too, but I gotta keep going at it.
Yeah, I mean, start now. That's it.
Yeah.
Start now. If you have that
hmm Start
inkling
something.
that,
Yeah.
yeah, and it doesn't have to baby steps. Doesn't have to be big.
How,
Baby
how's your
steps.
how's your book coming up? How are you with
I
the? I
have
know you've been trying to
I
get
did
into the
I did
writing.
the first three chapters.
Oh, great.
But all here I am again with my path.
hmm
I wanted to talk about something, and then another path is leading me to do other things,
So
and
you have to
I
put
can't
a
say
put a
no.
you put a bookmark on where you're at now, and then you can start
Yes,
again.
yeah.
Yeah.
Usually after the first three chapters, and you have it. You offer it to like a publicist, and they
hmm
see if they like your intro, your it's
Okay.
a rough draft, and then but right now I'm not. Like I said, my shift is again my path is
But
shifting.
but it's towards what you're doing now with the topic that you're writing about.
Yes,
Okay,
yes, but
good.
then like I said, it's something in my head or someone again is asking me to write something, so it's okay. I
Yeah,
can write both. I can write both.
good. No, that's good. Hopefully, I can get there.
Oh,
But yeah,
I'm doing so many things
yeah.
that, I wish I had more time, more, more hands, more brain, more everything. Because I'm just
More of you.
more of me.
Yeah, clone you.
All right.
All
So,
right.
Dr. Chan, Pep, thank you for sharing your incredible story with us
hmm
tonight. Truly, your journey is a testament of resilience, faith, and transformative power of wellness. And to all of our listeners, I want to thank you.
No, thank you.
I want to thank, yeah, I also want to thank all the men in this series. And of course, Pep, for inspiring others through their stories. You
hmm
are making a difference in this world. And if you're a man with a story to share, I invite you to reach out to me. This platform is for voices like yours to inspire others and create positive change. And to learn more about me, visit my website, www.candiceruggiero.com. I speak at conferences, conventions, professional development, workshop. I speak on authenticity, intentionality, leadership, teacher empowerment, and fighting burnout. You can also follow me on all social media at linktree/Candice Ruggiero. I have a weekly live show entitled Candice Ruggiero Love Speaks, where I talk about embracing yourself, uplifting others, and transforming the world. I also recently launched Novara. It's a global education connection where my partner and I will try to uplift the education world globally. Until the next time, remember your challenges can shape your purpose, and your purpose can change the world. Stay intentional, stay excellent, and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you, Pep. Thanks, everyone.